Hi everyone, welcome back. Leslie here. I apologize for my little hiatus that I was on for the last couple weeks. Didn't post any videos or anything. I had some health issues that I was dealing with, and it made it really hard to focus on tasks as well as to actually talk. This is the second time I'm recording the video. The first day I just had so much difficulty just thinking of words and keeping my thoughts straight. So I just said, let's just rest for this time. But I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about brushes. Specifically, when do you use a long handle brush or when do you use a short handled brush? And then after that's determined, you also then have to determine what kind of bristles on the brush are you going to use. So before we jump into that, hit the subscribe button and the bell for notifications when my videos do come up every week on Friday. So let's get to it, shall we? So in regards to how long of a handle that you're going to be using or what you're going to be needing, it depends on how much space is between you and your work of art. On an easel, you are able to step back and walk away from it and get the overall picture of what it is that you're working on. So the long handles help with that. So you can actually stand back a little further from the canvas but still be painting. And that way you can have a really good idea of what the composition looks like from afar, the whole thing, not just like the little pieces that you've been working on. So if you're working then on a flat table surface, you probably can guess that that's when you're going to be using the short handle brushes. Even if you're standing above your painting or you're leaned right over and you're painting with the very tip of the paintbrush, you're still really close to the image. So you're not really going to be able to back away and see it. I mean, if you're hunched over a table and you're doing this at the very end of a long handled brush, it's not comfortable. It's not going to give you very good results. So I would stick to a short handle if you're working on a flat surface. Now the surface that you're working on will also determine it's going to determine if you're using a canvas or if you're using paper. Now this is important because they have different types of tooth. And if you're not sure what I mean by tooth, that's the texture on the surface of either the paper or the canvas. I think everyone's pretty familiar with the texture, the tooth that's on the canvas, but there's some papers that either have very low tooth, next to no tooth. Bristol, I think, is kind of like that. Or if you get pads of, say, like pastel paper, that's going to have some tooth on it, just not as much as an actual canvas. So if you have something like a canvas or a paper that has a lot of tooth, you actually want to use the natural hair brushes. Reason being is because they can stand up against the canvas. As you're painting, the tooth of the canvas is going to eat away at your bristles. The natural bristles, usually hog hair, I believe, although there is some synthetic hog hair now, and I have not tried those, so I couldn't really let you know anything about them. But anyways, the natural hair bristles can stand being ground up against by the tooth in the paper, whereas synthetics are so soft that they're just going to become crazy looking little nubs if you use something like this on a canvas or a paper that has a lot of tooth. So once again, long handle if you're working at the easel, short handle if you're working on a flat surface like a tabletop. Now if you're working with something like a canvas or paper that has a lot of tooth, that's when you're going to want the natural hair bristles. If you're working with something that's smoother, watercolor paper, anything like that, then it's safe to use the synthetic brushes because they're not going to get ground down into being some funky looking brush. So those are pretty much the basics. I know that there's not, I haven't come across anyone on YouTube able to really explain that. They tend to say just use what you want, what you're comfortable with, which is completely true too. I mean, they have long-haired synthetic brushes. They have long hair synthetic hog hair brushes. So there's room for experimentation with this. I'm putting out there what I've learned from art school and the teachers. I've actually taken some specifically painting classes, and in addition to assignments of what to paint, she went over a lot about the surface that you're using for your work, as well as brushes that you're using for your work. So we'll be wrapping that up now, getting ready to put this online for you guys. I hope you enjoy watching them as much as I enjoy making them. So don't forget to hit subscribe and the notification bell to be notified whenever new videos come up, and I will see you next time.